புதுவை புதுவை புதுமையே போற்றுவோம். புதுவை பல்கலைக்கழகமே உனை வாழ்த்துவோம்.
வங்க கடலலை தாளாட்டும் ஞான சூரியன் உதிக்கும் இடம்.
இது எங்கள் புதுநெறி காட்டும் உலகம். என்னாலும் அறிவு தேடல் தொடரும். அறிவூற்றை பொழியும் ஆசிரியர் அவர்கள் தினமும் நனையும் மாணவர்கள்.
இதிலன்று புதுவை பல்கலைக்கழகம் அறிவின் தனியும் சோலை அகில போற்றும் கல்வி சாலை. மனித வளவே என்று முயல புனித சேவை தொடருதே. பல்கலைக்கழகம் என்றும் வளர்ந்திட நாமும் வழிபடுவோம். கல்வி சேவைகள் யாவும் காலமும் தொடர்ந்திட நாடும் வேண்டிடுவோம். புதுவை புதுவை புதுமையே போற்றுவோம்.
புதுவை பல்கலைக்கழகமே உன்னை வாழ்த்துவோம்.
Thank you. A warm good morning to our chief guest, Professor Gurmeet Singh Sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Pondicherry University, Puducherry, our valued guest of honor, Professor Kk Sharma Sir, former Vice Chancellor of Maharishi Dayanand Saraswati University, Rajasthan, Dr. Shekhar Kumar, IFS, Special Secretary, Forest and Environment, Government of Tamil Nadu, Department of Environment and Forests, Chennai, Professor KV Devi Prasad Sir, Dean, School of Life Sciences, Pondicherry University, and our respected faculties and my dear scholars and friends. I, Avina Bora, on behalf of the entire fraternity of Ecology and Environmental Science Department, Pondicherry University, welcome you all to the inauguration ceremony of Wildlife Week 2020. With a huge shift in life from real to virtual as a consequences of COVID-19, we have organized a week full of webinars, workshops and competitions to celebrate Wildlife Week 2020 with the theme Bewildering Wildlife. This year, our primary motive is to spread awareness about wildlife and its importance among common people, mainly targeting young generation. We are hoping that we would be able to create much awareness about all the wonderful fellow beings of our planet with the help of Wildlife Week 2020. We have tried to incorporate with many wonders about insects and elephants and lizards and human-wildlife interactions and the many marine and Himalayan splendors along with the various career options in the field of wildlife conservation in our webinars. We have arranged various competitions for students of schools and colleges alike to express themselves through photography, stories, seminars, poetry, paintings, short films, and quizzes. And we have also arranged a couple of workshops for wildlife enthusiasts on the basics of wildlife photography and acoustic communication in frogs. We are hoping that we would be able to deliver the message of conservation and importance of wildlife to all of these programs. Thank you. And now I would like to request Professor S. J. Kumar Sir, Head of the Department of Ecology and Environmental Sciences, Pondicherry University, to give a welcome address.
Thank you, Abhinav. Good morning to one and all present here. It's my pleasure to welcome the chief guest, Professor Gurmeet Singh, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Pondicherry University, for the inaugural function of this Wildlife Week 2020. Sir, it's an honor for us to have you with us as a chief guest to inaugurate this auspicious program that we do every year. You are the driving force in all our initiatives and actions, and your inspiring words motivate every one of us to achieve better. Thank you for being with us, sir. I extend a warm welcome to our guest of honor, Professor Kk Sharma, the former Vice Chancellor of Maharishi Dayanand Saraswati University, Ajmer, Rajasthan. He is also one of the member of Academic Council, Pondicherry University. I welcome Dr. Shekhar Kumar Neeraj, Special Secretary, Forest and Environment, Department of Environment and Forest, Government of Tamil Nadu, Chennai, and he is also one of the members of our Board of Studies, Department of Ecology, Pondicherry University. I welcome you, sir. I welcome Professor K.V. Devi Prasad, the Dean, School of Life Sciences, Pondicherry University, Puducherry, for this inaugural function of Wildlife Week 2020. I welcome the Deans, HODs from other departments, esteemed colleagues from my department, Professor Parthsarathi, Dr. Ramamurthy, Dr. Sundaravel, Dr. Sundarapandian, and Dr. Suja Devi Priya, and all other colleagues from other departments. I welcome the scholars, students from Pondicherry University, and participants from other colleges and universities for the inaugural function of Wildlife Week 2020. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I'd like to request Professor K.V. Prasad, sir, Dean School of Life Sciences, Pondicherry University, to give the felicitation address.
Thank you, Abhinav. Good morning to everybody. Professor Singh, Professor Sharma, Dr. Neeraj, my colleagues from this.
Professor Devi Prasad,
Yes.
I would again appeal to all those who are not speaking, please mute your mics. It is causing echo and it is disturbing for everybody. Durai Swami, Somaya, Abhinav, all your mics are on, please switch it off. Yes, that's the way. By now, I think we should be able to get into this habit. Professor Somaya, your mic is still on. Yes. Now, Professor Devi Prasad, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Singh. It's my singular pleasure to be here giving the felicitation address. This is the first formal function of mine after taking over as Dean of the School of Life Sciences. So I am very, very thrilled to be part of this function. This has been essentially a student-driven, student-run function over the last decade and a half. In the first week of October, when we celebrate the Wildlife Week along with the rest of the world, to drive home the point of importance of conservation of biodiversity in situ and ex situ. And the students have done a wonderful job over the years of taking the message across to everyone. And this year has been no exception, COVID notwithstanding. They have put together a wonderful program, and there's going to be a very, very nice series of lectures by people who are at the cutting edge of research in these areas, including today we have a very distinguished ecologist, Professor Sharma, to talk to us, very distinguished ecologist from Rajasthan. He was here last year talking to us about his research experiences. He's going to give us again a very lucid, very informative talk. Dr. Neeraj is also a very active person in the forest department. He is actually in the line department doing the things that needs to be done. So he is going to give us a very deep insight into conservation. And there are going to be a number of speakers, starting with Sukumar this afternoon, talking on elephants, and all the way down with the reptiles being done by somebody from Bangalore and so on. Every aspect of biodiversity is being taken care of this year. The students have done a remarkable job in putting this week together, and I want to congratulate them on a great effort. And Jay Kumar has been providing them inspiration as a head of the department. I congratulate him, and as well as all the other colleagues of the department, Dr. Sundarapandian, Dr. Ramurthy, Sujad, Dr. Parthsarathi, and Mr. Sundarvel, who is not able to be with us because of his illness. He has also been doing his bit to enthuse students. So I thank all my colleagues in the department for providing guidance to the students to do such a great job. And it's my pleasure to felicitate this Wildlife Week. I'm sure this is going to be a very signal success. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I request Professor Kk Sharma, sir, former Vice Chancellor of Maharishi Dayanand Saraswati University, to give the felicitation address.
Thank you very much. So first of all, I pay my regards and greeting to Professor Gurmeet Singh ji, a great leader. And I consider Puducherry University as part of my academic family. I am a very frequent visitor for various programs. And Dr. K.V. Devi Prasad ji, Dean, Dr. Shekhar Kumar Neeraj ji. So friends, we are celebrating the 66th Wildlife Week. This is the 66th and unique in one sense because we had faced almost 6 months COVID syndrome, COVID pandemic. And this COVID pandemic has also shaken the wildlife. A lot of news. I am dealing these days vigorously with the herpetofauna, snakes, lizards, and other. Most of the animals are confused because once during the lockdown, when they have not seen any human being the way they had seen before, so it's a confusion. So this confusion has created a lot of problems also. Many wild species have come and started wandering very freely in the urban areas. So friends, we are one of the 17th mega biodiversity countries of the world. This is a great recognition. There are more than 200 countries and India being representing one of the mega diversity countries. This is a great honor for us. We feel proud that we are in a country that has got the richest biodiversity and wildlife. Similarly, we have got 4 very important hotspots also. So friends, to maintain this thing, to maintain the dignity, see, to be part of a country is fine, but to maintain the dignity of the country, that is very important. To be part of an academic family of a big university is fine, but to maintain the standard is very important. So the Wildlife Week we have been celebrating for the last many years, and there are so many programs. People organize quiz competition, painting, and all those things to the young students, and of course the faculties and the experts, they are involved there. So I'm really very happy that Dr. Jay Kumar, he has asked me that I should be there in the Wildlife Week. Happily, I conveyed this thing. I am frequently interacting with the faculty, excellent faculty in Puducherry University. So celebrating Wildlife Week and what has been narrated by Mr. Abhinav, that there are so many programs have been organized earlier also. So let's hope that with the help of such programs of Wildlife Week, we maintain the standards of our biodiversity, wildlife, and we continue with the increasing trend of wildlife to stop the poaching activities, to encourage those species which are close to threatened level or at the merge of the extinction. So I am really thankful to all the dignitaries sitting here, my friends of Puducherry University, that they are organizing an excellent program. The complete 7 days program which I have seen, it is really wonderful. You have invited excellent wildlife specialists, experts, faculties here. So thank you very much once again for inviting me for this felicitation address. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. And now I request Dr. Shekhar Kumar Neeraj, sir, IFS, Special Secretary, Forest and Environment, Government of Tamil Nadu, Department of Environment and Forest, the felicitation address.
Very good morning. Thank you very much. Respected the Vice Chancellor, the Chief Guest of this function, Professor Sharma, Dr. Devi Prasad, Professor Devi Prasad, Dr. Jay Kumar, several faculty, students, participants, and everybody who has been and is part of this extremely important event. I would rather probably have my starting point like this. I would like to remember, our great father of nation, Mahatma Gandhi, and his quote, and which meant this way, that the greatness of a nation is only respect, and its moral progress is only ensured or just by the way it treats its animals. And that's a very significant statement that came at a time when we had was close to the independence of the country, and it was significant in the sense that it was a very early realization of this fact, which today we realize much more even that how critical the whole scenario is there, and it's facing us. We have been fortunate. I mean, if you look at it historically also, if you look at much deeper, if you dig into history, then it dates back, and it must be known to everyone, it dates back to several centuries ago, to precise in 280, when it was the country as a nation, India had respected wildlife conservation, protection, even as early as that. Before independence, India has been one of the forerunner of wildlife conservation, protection, creating protected areas for conserving and protecting wildlife. It has been a forerunner in signing several multilateral and multinational conventions such as CITES and CBD, but also the Ramsar, the Migratory Species Convention. It has been in forerunner in almost every aspect of the conservation, but then it is maybe the way the years grew by and then passed by, and then the situation which now we face is that, at least to me, to my understanding, I would, and a lot of people say that's a celebration, the whole week is a celebration. I mean, to me, it's not a celebration at all. I would rather prefer to use the connotation that it may be a wildlife, sensitization week, or probably wildlife awareness week, or educating the public and the stakeholders and everyone concerned. Because I really do not see that a lot is there to celebrate. Rather, it is to sit together, to ponder over the challenges we are facing. We have faced the years passed by, and we are going to face in the future to come for our next generation. So rather, I would say rather that it's not only probably is the only sectoral initiative that can help improve the situation and probably ensure that this conservation remains for posterity, for the generations to come. It's going to be extremely collective effort. And if I look at that, if I think about that, then I think this initiative by the School of Ecology and by Life Sciences and the Pondicherry University as such, and with the great leadership of Professor Gurmeet Singh, with whom I had long association in Delhi University, since my Delhi University, and probably is one of the professors and my always cherished faculty that who was one of my earliest milestone for inspiring me in my life. Professor Sharma, as we've been told, that is, and we know that is a great ecologist, Dr. Devi Prasad, and the entire university and the department with the students and faculty. Taking this initiative, to me, it is a great effort, because I very seriously consider that if wildlife has to be ensured, it has to flourish. If we look at the water, wildlife biodiversity and wildlife and forest continuum, and we think that we are going to really conserve these and ensure that our generations continue to get benefit out of it, and then all different life forms are respected the way Mahatma Gandhi had perceived, then this collectivity, the collectiveness in effort is extremely important. And this gives me really opportunity, not only to thanking you that you gave me this opportunity to be part of this program, but I really thank everyone who is concerned with this program, both in terms of conceptualizing or initiating or organizing it, and also the people who are going to be part of it in the next 7 days for educating the public of different at different levels. I think this is my opportunity to thank every one of you, and also say that it's a great initiative you have taken, and that gives somewhere in the tunnel light of hope that tomorrow probably is not that dark, which we sometimes tend to think because of the situation and scenario around. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I request our Honorable Vice Chancellor of Pondicherry University, Professor Gurmeet Singh Sir, to give the inaugural address.
Thank you. Am I audible? That's the first thing one should ask. Am I audible, please? Any
Your voice is breaking, sir.
now, am I audible clearly?
No, sir.
Huh? Hello?
Still it is breaking, sir.
How about now?
Yes, sir. Fine, sir. Fine.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. I am delighted to be here in this function because I feel that such functions are very much required for all institutions. Every institution should hold a function of this kind. For a reason I'm going to spell out a while. Let me start by giving my regards to our old friend, Professor Professor Kk Sharma, who is our academic council member, and he regularly his association. He's always there, and always there very gladly, and I'm glad that he's there with you. He's done a remarkable work in the areas of snakes and reptiles, so he'll share his thoughts more when he delivers his full talk. Then Devi Prasad, the dean who has taken over, he said he's really motivated youngsters in the right direction. Dr. Jayakumar, who has organized this Wildlife Week, he's been doing it year after year, which goes in a big way that emphasizes that this is the need of the earth. We need to repeat it every year. And finally, Dr. Sheikh, who has the longest association with me probably, way back in 1986. I taught him a master's degree and then he joined, finished his master's degree, and joined Indian Foreign Service exceedingly well. He's in a position, and we keep meeting once in 5 years, 7 years, off and on here and there in certain meetings. And wherever I meet him, I find he's handling a new assignment. And wherever, whatever assignment he's held, he's excelled in that. And now he's back to Tamil Nadu as a special secretary in this area. And I'm sure the wildlife and the forestry will really gain great grounds under his leadership that is going to be with us. So it's good to see. And let me also tell you, gives you a feeling that, oh, you taught somebody in 1986 and now you have this particular place after so many years. Gives you a feeling that, you see, you have grown. You're not what you were 40 years back. And time has really flown. And still gives you a feeling that, well, you're on the other side of the fence. But then let me not take it that way. I'll take it as if I was with Shekhar just yesterday. And when you have that, you get the same feeling when I used to run from ground floor to the fourth floor where my room was, maybe 15, 20 times a day without getting tired at all. So when you remember those days in those terms, you feel young, you feel energetic, happy, and you feel like going on and on. So thank you, Shekhar, for coming over and joining us. I really appreciate this, and I hope you will take your department to greater heights. Now, coming back to the importance of Wildlife Week, some students, when I met last year after this kind of a celebration that we had, they said, sir, it's really worth we spend 7 days. And that is where I had told them that, in my opinion, this is the most important event in our calendar, because people are getting the importance of this. You would have seen, go anywhere, even Pondicherry, you walk around, you look at the way people shun various animals, dogs, cats, whatever. That's the kind that should be a common to animal. Many of us don't do it. And the animals have to live. We give that. I think many of our own people do not know the importance of this. If a lawyer has to say one requires certain areas, certain kind of settings which we are destroying, and we are reducing their area to a point where they if an elephant has to say one requires some kind of an area where we are encroaching upon those, and that upsetting the balance of the animal kingdom and our areas. And this balance, when found is upset, it leads to a lot of disasters which we never faced earlier, but now we are facing. A very unusual example which most of you might not have analyzed, most of you don't have heard at all. You know, floods. Ganges is a rich country with a mother, and we have a lot of reverence. In every town through which Ganges passes, people pray, people all kinds of rich, people have great regard, people have great respect. But then that's about it. They have respect, reverence only up to that. When it comes to giving the due regard to Ganges, have done that? No. All kinds of dirt we have dumped into that, and the banks we have started encroaching by dumping everything and then developing into concrete jungles. The result is that we get massive floods every year, and if you see the floods in certain towns in Bihar and other states, they were massive. Worst floods. Did we have these kind of floods in days? If you analyze, you will not. And what I concluded when I was going through this and I was discussing some of our earth science people here, that Ganges will repeatedly attempt year after year to overtake that area which was under Ganges control. It was a very wide river, majestically flowing through states, and we narrowed it down. And these floods which emerge, you may have all kinds of scientific reasons. I'm giving philosophical reasons. That Ganges attempts at one point of time, that area used to be under the occupation of this great river, whom we revere, we respect, and it has a great place in our religious sentiments also. But are we really giving respect? You look at what Ganges was in 37, 27, if you see old pictures, and 57 and 67, look at the way we have spoiled, we have thrown all mud, all dirt here, and we have narrowed it down. So this results in it's coming back and hitting and telling people that, look, you need to behave. That's what we need to face. This is what we have seen of late in the form of landslides, various disasters in Uttarakhand and other places. Not once, year after year, but we refuse to learn. Not that we cannot control, we can, but we are not doing it. You have seen the fire in California, you have seen the fires in Australia, which went on for months, and I saw some of the animals dying. I think it was a very, very painful thing to see. I saw some of those videos, and believe me, I could not get a proper sleep for 4, 5, 6 days at a stretch, because I was disturbed. I was looking at the shrieks of those monkeys and other animals. They were crying for water. Who's responsible? We are responsible. And here are young minds, those who are in the schools and colleges and universities. They are the ones who interact with everybody in population, in and around, with public at large. They are the ones, by word of mouth, who will convey to them the importance of this. And they would automatically learn when they are here and they are part of these kind of celebrations. Last week I attended this. They had organized remarkable programs in terms of debates, paper reading contests, your painting competitions, all related to wildlife, and it was really giving a very subtle message to public that what we need to do. Are we really concerned when we had this pandemic? You look at the way animals were starving in many places. Did we really come out to do something about it? Probably not. And probably nobody even thought of that. So we need to have a balance between what they require and what we require. They respect us, we also need to respect them. We don't have to be cruel to animals, though there are a lot of societies, NGOs who are working towards this, but then the right message, to the extent it should go, it has not gone. We cut our trees mercilessly. We don't pay any respect to this, and people are not aware of this who are doing this. They need to be told that whatever you require for breathing, you are getting it from these species, and we need to pay due regard to them. If you're cutting one on paper, I think Dr. Shekhar will agree with me that we have made a lot of regulations, a lot of rules, a lot of laws that you cut one, put 10, and then it will be compensated. Well, for showing we do put 10, and they verify also, they monitor also, but they have their own limitation. The forest department and the environmental department, they have their limitations in terms of numbers. And what we are, everybody knows, we are very fond of breaking laws, and when we hoodwink them, we get a kind of thrill that, okay, look, these forest officials, they came, they have verified, and now after that we have removed these. That's a temporary thrill. You are not realizing that in the long run, what kind of a damage you are doing to the society. So Dr. Shekhar will agree with me that though we have these laws in places, we need to respect them. We need to respect them in all sincerity. Well, I'll appreciate certainly. I will not say that these making of these laws and regulations should not have been there, because nobody follows. I think since they have come into existence, people have come to know the importance of that. Had it not been there at all, then people would have been wild in damaging our environment. So first, my compliments that people have paid due attention to this after independence, and gradually they have developed in a manner that we have been able to now arrest the damage which is being caused to the environment. It would have been far faster had these laws not been there. You look at certain greener areas near Uti, Kodaikanal, Shimla, Mussoorie, how they were getting reduced in the late 60s and early 70s. And now if you compare, it has been arrested to a considerable extent. And there, I think the forest department needs to be complimented. The kind of hard work these people put in, it is something to be seen. An average fellow may not know what kind of a life they have to at times lead in difficult circumstances. They only say, you know, these government officials are only enjoying, they're not doing anything. When you go to certain areas, I've personally been to some of the very tough areas in Himachal, in higher reaches, and the way these people monitor, do their duty, it has led to re-greening of our places which otherwise would not have been possible. So when you celebrate Wildlife Week, you start giving regard to the animal kingdom in and around. If they breathe, if they live, obviously they will provide a balance that we are peaceful. We will also be able to do it that way. And we will be able to breathe if their habitation is proper. If they are breathing, that means there is enough greenery, there is enough natural existence. And here also, when we look at our own space, the kind of air that we need will be provided by plants. If that is there to the right extent, we'll breathe properly, we'll breathe a cleaner air, which used to be there in good old days. And now whatever is there, I'm not going to dwell on that, you all know about it. To a great extent, this factor is responsible that are not giving enough respect to these fellow beings, I'm saying, the animal kingdom. Somebody, I think somebody said here, I think Kk Sharma said, that Mahatma Gandhi, whom we have a great respect for, everybody throughout the world. He said a country is known by the way they keep their animals. In simple words. People said, what? Gandhiji is telling, on one side he talks about development of a country, satyagraha, non-violence, and he's talking about animals also. I think that was a very important message Mahatma gave in good old days. You see, Mahatma's thinking was very original thinking in terms of that if a country has to progress, you have to pay due attention to the smallest unit of that country, and that smallest unit in our country is a village. And if village is developed properly, rest of the things is a story I need not mention. And on the same count, Mahatma Gandhi also paid due respect to animal kingdom also. They said, allow them to exist. If they are existing, you will exist. That's the thing which he said it. He was not a scientist, let me tell you. He was not an environmentalist. He never studied these kind of subjects. But then look at his imagination. He paid respect at that time. And if you extend it further to the present time, I think it is a real truth. And we all need to respect that. And this message would be learned, would be conveyed to our young minds. That's more important in my way. And that would be done when we have celebrations of this kind. It is not celebration, it's a reminder year after year that here is one important entity of our existence which we need to pay enough attention to if we have to lead a cleaner life. And that's what we get from these kind of functions. So I rightly said last time to some of the students that it is, in my opinion, the function which should be held every year. And it is not only celebration that you light lamp, sing something and have a cup of coffee and go back. Of course, because of pandemic, we are not able to do that also. But the way we are doing it, it's a reminder that, well, we need to respect our environment. And this kind of a function, when I was talking to these students, I said it will be a reminder year after year. And when that is done, the message will go across by word of mouth, by word of putting posters. And it is not only these. You are inviting wonderful experts in this area. You will be able to know about ecology, you will know about greenery, you'll know about fisheries, you'll know about animals. When I was going through the list, people are coming from all over and they are sharing their experiences. That's a big thing. And then students will also get an idea about the original idea in their minds that what way to popularize these facts to our public. So I compliment the department for organizing such a wonderful function. Wildlife Week, as we call it. I hope all those experts who are going to be there, our young minds will listen to them, act upon their advice, and get good ideas about what probably they should be able to do once they finish their degree, and in terms of research, what problems to pick up, what social work to do, what areas to work on in terms of making our planet a better livable place throughout, and how best to respect our wildlife. I think if this message goes in the right manner, with this kind of function will certainly help. Our society will definitely be a better place to live in. I am personally grateful to Dr. Sharma for sparing his time to be with us. And I am also very grateful to my old, I'd say, student and friend, Dr. Shekhar Neeraj, who interacted with earlier. He says, sir, you are in Pondicherry now. I think we'll join hands and see what best can be done for the university through government sources and through other NGOs with which he is in touch with. But unfortunately, pandemic set in. And once or twice we did fix a meeting, but then somehow it could never materialize. I hope our association shall advance further, and we will both be able to do a lot of good work for the university and for the society as well. Thank you so very much for inviting me, and I wish the Wildlife Week a grand success, with the hope that the right message would be delivered for society through our younger students who are part of this. Thank you so very much, and God bless all of you.
Thank you so much for your valuable words, sir. And now I request my co-host Raksha Honavra to give the vote of thanks, which will be followed by the national anthem.
Thank you, Abhinav. It is my privilege to have been asked to propose the vote of thanks on this occasion. I, on behalf of the Department of Ecology and Environmental Sciences and the entire team working for Wildlife Week 2020, extend a hearty thanks to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Gurmeet Singh Sir, for gracing this occasion with his presence and for his inspiring and encouraging words. A big thank you to all the guests of honors, Dr. Shekhar Kumar Neeraj sir, Professor Kk Sharma sir, and Professor Devi Prasad sir for their kind words and motivation. I thank the Director of Studies and the Director of Culture, the Registrar, and the Finance Officer of Pondicherry University for their support. I also would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to our HOD, Professor S. Jay Kumar, for his constant support and guidance. It goes without saying that without the support of all our faculty members, that is Professor N. Patsati sir, Dr. S.S. Sundarvel sir, Dr. S.M. Sundar Pandian sir, and Dr. D. Rammurthy sir, this event would not have been as successful. I would like to thank all the staff of the department who are always wishing and looking out for our best. I thank the Computer Center of Pondicherry University for providing us with the technical support. I would like to thank all my classmates who have dedicated their time and efforts for weeks now for the actualization of this event. This has been an auspicious start to Wildlife Week 2020, and here is hoping for a seamless series of all the events. And like Dr. Shekhar Neeraj sir said, let this be a successful effort at sensitization of people towards wildlife. All the best to all the event organizers and the participants. Hope all of us continue to be blessed with health and safety in these times especially. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Abhinav, please.
So we'll be having the national anthem now.
जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा
द्राविड़ उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल
गंगा
उच्चल
नदी तरंगा तब शुभ नाम जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे शुभ नाम में जागे
तब शुभ
आशीष
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, everyone. We have a webinar at 11:45. I request all of you to please join us for the webinar, which is given by Professor Sharma and Dr. Neeraj. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you to Professor Sharma and thank Dr.
Thank you,
Neeraj.
sir.
Jackman, the same link or different link?
Same link, sir. Same link.
Okay.
Same link at 11:45 will join, sir.
11:45.